Welcome to Colorful Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am you, Keisha, and this is
Takesha.
You Have Not Sang Your Name in Months. You remember you used to sing it
All the time.
all the time. But yeah, that just let you know you're back to singing.
Yeah.
I like this.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't realize what it says, spiritual and bougie. I like that.
Yes, it's available at www.takeshabanks.com.
Yeah, I'm feeling that, friend. I like that. Okay.
Mhm.
How you feeling?
Girl, I'm here.
I'm here too. Listen, I've been thinking, we haven't really even texted or anything a whole lot, but have you been watching the news?
Absolutely not. No. I don't know anything that's going on in America.
Let me tell you something that's going on in the city of Detroit, where we're from. If you are from somewhere else, we're from Michigan. Um, because we talk a lot about parenting and things like that. And the last couple of weeks, it seemed like every week it's been some crazy story, and tragic story.
Is this about the kids though?
Yeah.
Okay, that I do know. I don't know
It's
political stuff.
I'm saying no political stuff. You talking about the kids that were that passed away in the car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
I
one.
was but I was thinking about the kids. This wasn't Detroit. I think this was Pontiac.
Yes.
Where they had been at home for years, huh?
It's been 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 or 5, and that's what I wanted to get your perspective, because we be thinking like we make bad parenting decisions, but when I read that, because I didn't watch the news, I read it, and I was like, this lady left her kids. I think the son is 15. The daughters are 12 and 13. And she left, the son told the authorities in 2020. He said 2020 or 2021. And she occasionally drops food off or a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And when they showed the pictures, a video of the house, did you see that?
I did, because I looked at it on the Detroit News, like .com or whatever. But what I'm about to say, don't come for me when I say this. I was confused on why the house looked like how it looked.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were confused, but you got to think about it. If it was 5 years ago,
but that's when
left,
I started thinking and started, calculating. And then I had to remember too, which is something that I have been processing all week, generations.
Mm-hmm.
Because our generation, we were raised more like adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that generation, absolutely
we're
not.
No, we're not.
So, but at first, I really was just like, how did it? But then I was just like, okay, this isn't like they were there now at this age. This was
5 years earlier, which means they were even
younger. Were they already too young?
Yeah, were you already too young? And if you haven't been trained, think about this though: the little girls' toenails were so long they couldn't walk out of the house. That means she had not even taught them about hygiene, basic things. Mm-hmm. And these kids been stuck in the house for 5 years, wasn't going to school. But I also be thinking, like, she really dropped the ball, but where are the people in their lives, the school, the friends that they probably had, that they just disappeared? Like, nobody knew these kids was in the house, and the house was destroyed,
literally destroyed.
They sat and watched TV like all day. They never left. They had not left the house, and which means they didn't know how to take out the trash. Right? They didn't know how to clean thoroughly. Like we teach our kids how to clean, but they didn't know how to clean. I was like, this just made me think, like, what is going on? And then the mother who her kids passed away in the car at the casino. It's been a lot this week because it was a live video about her partying. Like, I think it was the night, I think the funeral was today. And she was partying with, I don't know, family or friends like 2 nights ago, or it could have been an old video. I don't believe so, but a lot of people have opinions about that. That she was, and it's like, where were these people when you were living in the car?
Right. That story I don't know much about. I had just seen somebody had commented about the kids' clothes or something. And I was just like, I was confused about that. But that one I really, and I don't know why, but every time it was coming across or I was hearing something, I was just like,
you kept going.
Yeah, I don't know. But the other one
stuck out
to me where I was just like, oh, I got to read more about this. And I don't know why I be like that.
You know, the one with I give you a little backstory that from what I know, they were sleeping in the car at the casino. It was her children, her mother, and siblings were in a van, I guess. And she had reached out to help. The city did have records of her calling, trying to get help. But of course, places be packed, and a lot of times people who work don't have a lot of compassion for the situation because they probably get a lot of calls, or a lot of people who do scams or something. So the 2 children died from hypothermia, but the father, she called him, I guess, a couple of times to get the kids.
Allegedly. Go ahead.
He said she called him.
Oh.
But this is what he said. She called me to get him, and I told her I had to work and stuff. But calling me to just get him and call me to tell me you're homeless is 2 different things. So I thought on that because, every situation is different. And then he didn't have a lot of compassion for her because she could just he made it like it was her fault. She could just told me she was homeless, which I think he knew, but he had a new relationship. And they was traveling and doing their things and, stuff posted on social media so you could see. And it's just sad. It's like, do anybody put their kids first? Because I think even if I became homeless, I know I got family, but if I was in that situation, because she even said, people will help for a minute, but a lot of people don't want a lot of kids in their house. And you know how our generation is. They'll say, you got too many kids, and you be feeling just kind of, what do I do? I think I probably would have just been in a McDonald's or in somewhere, or, I don't know. I would have went to the police station and said, I don't have nowhere to take my kids. Can they just sit in here? Is the police going to kick you out? I don't know. But I think when you're in that situation, it's hard to think clearly.
Yeah. I've never ever been in a situation like that, thank God. And I pray that that's something that I don't have to experience. But I think about the little things that I do experience. My brain is a whole fog where I don't know what my resources are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even imagine having to think about and process and go through all of that and I would just be completely terrified.
Girl.
And then sometimes, because I'm prideful, that right there. But the thing about me, and this is just me for me, my son means the world to me. So I might be a little foggy on my own self, but I'm going to try and figure out something for him. Number one. Number two, and I'm not judging or saying anything about anybody else's situation. I'm just thinking about me, because I be going to friend to friend to friend and be like, can he just come tonight? Can he, even if I ain't coming.
If I don't stay, yeah.
But I'm going to say this, and I stand on it. This is why I don't have a bunch of kids.
Continue, go ahead.
Because kids are a responsibility of the parent. And if you are not ready to parent and provide for them, why procreate? This is why I am where I'm at with that. And I've been in a situation, and when I look back, I'm like, it was very hurtful and tragic for me. But I thank God, because I know right now, I woke up this morning, okay, and somebody had bought some shirts, speaking of shirts. So I had got a little deposit, and I was like, cool, because I had $9. I did a payment because it was due today and I didn't want it to be late. But you know how sometimes it take a couple days. Mm-hmm. And this is just me being honest and transparent. My account went into the negative today. So how I'm going to be out here with some kids?
That part.
America is hard.
Yeah.
I only know about America because I live in America. So it's hard. So we need to plan better and make better decisions with our life. Like I said, our free will, we got free will. We need to make wise choices.
I agree.
And some people out here, they just be having kids and don't think about that. And I'm not putting this towards that situation. I'm disconnecting from all of the parental stories. I'm just talking about when you decide to lay with another person, whether you planning or not, and it's a good time, when you make that conscious decision, there's consequences. And can you afford those? I know I can't.
Yeah.
So if future husband come and he wealthy, then I might.
And I don't think that.
But I ain't getting married.
That's another subject for another day. But I agree with you. I don't think that because even me, I was married when I had mine, but I ain't married no more. So I become by myself, doing it. Now my situation is different for other people, but again, I think that when you decide to have children, you need to decide, and I wasn't thinking this then, but I tell young ladies specifically, because I know how I feel to do it and do it alone pretty much, that you need to know that you can afford however you want to live, plus one or two, however many you add.
Exactly. You need to be able to afford that lifestyle. And I think with me having Jordan at 19, I learned really quickly, because when I first moved out, I was on Section 8. And then I got my apartment and eventually ended up, buying a house. But even with the house, my reasoning behind it, like me now being wiser, I probably would have stayed in an apartment a little longer, because now I'm adding on extra expenses. Like I be praying to God. It's like for real. I be like, I know you got other things going on, but we can't deal with no water main break, no pipes busting, no new replacing the furnace, hot water heater. Shut it down. Jesus, cover it. All them birds out there, I'm praying that they angels protecting this house.
That's on the real, because sadly, and I just had a conversation with a client earlier. She's divorced like me, and she has a little 3-year-old, and I joke with her because she's dating somebody now, and I joke with her, and we talked about dating stories over the years, but I joke with her and tell her, this is your husband. And she's like, girl, I don't want to get married no more. I don't want to get married no more. And then she asked me, like, why do you say that's my husband? And I said to her, I believe that our children, society is jacked up right now, but it's completely jacked up. Nobody sees a real family structure for real. You got a very few. And the few you have, is it a real family structure where inside the home where nobody's looking, that it's really love, or when you walk out the door, it's fake, or y'all really functioning as a loving family? And I said, I believe it's important that your son, my daughter, my son sees, and I said this before, see real examples of love in a relationship. I said, I believe that it's important for them to know that all men ain't dogs. All women ain't naggers or whatever they call us, or the gold diggers.
I am gold digger right here. Yes. Be aware, sir. I'm digging.
You know what? I can't stay. But I just say, I think it's important for my daughter to see a family structure.
I agree.
And not a structure of we just live together and this is, and like the norm is being having infidelity in a relationship. I don't want them to think that's the norm. And that's why I told her. I said, I believe your son should grow up with a man that loves him and is going to be a parent or a step parent to him. And she was like, you know what? I hadn't thought about it that way. She was like, you're right. I said, because we carry on a masculine energy. Yeah. Because we almost have to. Mm-hmm. Same with her. Mm-hmm. You ain't even got no choice. You got to be the man and the woman. And sometimes our men come off harder than the feminine. Yes. So I was like, I don't want my daughter to think that that's the right way to be.
And I think for me, I thought that was normal. It was natural. It was natural for me to play that role as the masculine versus, stepping more into my femininity. So I definitely, and I think sometimes, especially going through a divorce, breakup, whatever it is, it's just like, you're just so focused on taking care of it, getting it done, and what they need, that you don't really think of the other nurturing aspects that comes into play. That's why I think every decision that we make, I talked to a friend the other day and we talked about how literally you don't get a manual. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Especially on parenting, life in general, there's no manual, but we really need to be more conscious of these choices that we make. Yeah. And I try not to look too far in the future, but planning is essential for certain things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
And everything we know is not going to work out and it's not going to be perfect. I know people don't go into getting married to get divorced, but I also know sometimes that when you get married that you may not necessarily be marrying the right person, because we see these, what I'm going to call red flags in so many situations, and we just don't walk away from. And we think that it's going to be okay because
we ignore it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We ignore it but I think it's, we unconsciously ignore it when you're not your authentic self. Like right now, my discernment beyond, like you said before, everybody got discernment, but if you're not really authentically who you're supposed to be, you are going to ignore it, and you're going to, that vision is going to be blurry, very blurry, and that's for men and women. It's going to be blurry, and you're going to ignore it, and I've ignored it all my life until now. So when I say, I try to teach differently now, because your mothers want their daughters to marry a good man or whatever. My mother gave me advice and I didn't listen. And when I think about it now, I'm like, man, she knew and I didn't listen to her. But I also didn't listen because it was always, do he go to church? If he go to church, he's a good man. So when she was giving me advice, I was just thinking, you being judgmental. But when she had tapped into, no, you about to, do something you really don't need to be doing, I defended and was like, you don't know him. And she just like, all right. She took her hands off me and just, and so now I'm like, okay, if we give some real guidance and give some real teaching and give the raw and real, hopefully and prayerfully our kids of this generation won't make the same mistakes.
Yes, but what I really want is the kids of this generation too to be receptive of it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many entitled. And just expect certain things.
But that's been the parents' fault though, because now we go so above and beyond for our kids. They don't want for nothing. And I'm talking about parents across the board. Mm-hmm. We give them the freedom to just, whatever. At what point is that too much where they don't feel entitled?
I feel like that there has to be a balance. I don't know the answer to this. Mm-hmm. There's no way I can start a manual because, again, just like we talked, how I felt like I was rich growing up. I never wanted for anything. Mm-hmm. And literally everything I asked for, I got. Mm-hmm. I raised my son the same exact way. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like he's a lot more entitled
than you are.
Than I was. But at the same time, my parents did instill a little bit more responsibility for me than I ever had with him, because I don't want to go on here, but that older sibling, you know, a lot of times they take on more things than they should. So I know sometimes that was it. And I'm not even saying necessarily from me like looking after my sister. It was just probably maybe I had more chores than what she did.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, we could talk about that on all different kind of levels. But I think with my son, it was just, I was never as stern and strict because but we have to remember too that our children are different people. I always wanted to please my parents. So I was never going to come from entitled, I deserve, I expect, because I was still trying to please them. And in my mind, as I've been thinking about this, crazy, we started talking about it, I realized too that I inadvertently had conditioned myself to think of everything as being on a reward system.
Really?
Okay. I got good grades. What you want?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then my mother worked in retail, so it was easy just coming home, stuff going on sale. But I realized everything came with oh, well, you know, it's Christmas. It's your birthday. Your update was good. You got a report card. It was all of these conditions for something. So
now there's no conditions.
No. There's no conditions. It was just, you wanted, you going to school, Jordans is popular, so we buying you Jordans.
I mean, to the point where I was grown when I got my first tattoo and came home scared to show my parents I got it. No, I take my son to get one. There's no conditions, and I mean,
I think last year was the first time that, and I think it was just one day by mistake that I was just like, oh my God, I don't have nothing covering
your daddy's son.
Yeah, my dad seen it.
What, did he say something?
He didn't say nothing. And I was so glad, because I'm like, I am so not ready for this conversation.
But ain't that crazy how you still feel that?
Yes, now? Because when it be 95 degrees coming, I'm going to be over there with this sweatshirt on like, hey, daddy, with my shorts on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no conditions. We pretty much, this generation of parents, we give our kids whatever pretty much they want. And then when it's special occasions, they 16 birthdays be looking like wedding receptions.
Yes. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that, and prom and all of the things and the send-offs and stuff, where before you just, I remember my cousin, I don't know how, like, we are 10 years apart. I remember a couple of people coming to the house, but now it's just,
it's a big thing. But, you know, even if people, you know, regress or whatever the word is and go back to the older way of a reward system, or, you know, because I don't even know if these kids nowadays really know how to have the chores that we had or the responsibilities that we had. I kind of have given mine some, not as many as I had, but I realized, like, man, if you get out on your own, you're really not going to know how to do nothing. I don't want you to, you know, I literally do everything. And a lot of times I do it because I know how I want
and that be the other thing. We be wanting things a certain way.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, no, you going to do this until you get it right. How my mama would have been.
Yeah.
It'll be like, you know what, just never mind. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I was the parent, I ain't going to lie. Jordan is Prince. I ain't make him do nothing.
Well, now since it's just me and my daughter in the house, it's easier now to teach her. And she has been just, I don't have to ask as much. She just do certain things because she know, and then she'll come and say, you don't have to worry about the dishes. I already did them. And I'll be like, okay, it was only 3 plates, but thank you. You know, or even when it's a lot, she'll go ahead and do it. So she's kind of getting that, you know, old school way of, okay, if you see it need to be done, because I'm not trying to give you, okay, we used to have, this is your week to do this. This is your day to do this. I'm trying not to do that because how busy our schedule is, but I still need you to know and not be entitled to, you know, things. And, you know, just
the unfortunate part, I think, about I don't know if it's unfortunate or not. I know that my son knows how to do things.
Yeah.
But I also know that I, in my mind, was just like when the way I was raised, certain things that the women did, the men didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I raised him
The
that same way.
Okay. Now, do you think you've done him a disservice for if he get married?
I did his wife a huge disservice.
And it's too late to try and change it now.
Yeah. But then I think on the flip side of things, you know, because it's certain things that I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. Don't mean that I don't know how to, but I just don't want to do. So I just pray that there's balance in his life and mine too. Mm-hmm. So these things that I didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying, can be rectified, and it just, the cycle doesn't have to keep going where it continues to break apart, where he, you know what I'm saying? Because there's people out here. I remember one of my mother's good friends, she didn't do nothing. Her husband took care of the house and he cooked.
Did he? Mm.
And they owned the company. Mm. So it wasn't like she was, you know what I'm saying? So
I know somebody like that right now that her husband does everything. He drives her around too. He cooks and he'll clean. I think she will clean, but she don't really have to. She'll sit and he caters to her. But she also treats him like a king, you know.
Yeah, because you can still do that in different ways. Because I think that's the other thing. Growing up, it was just like, you know, cook and clean and they do this. So I do feel like I did a disservice. But those are things, honestly, that I really do pray over to try and, I don't know what phrase I want to use, but maybe smooth it out. Because the way you are raised, your experiences, the people who you allow in your life, the choices, all of this shape who you become and who you are. And, you know, so now I look back and I'm like, dang, you know, I did a disservice because, you know, maybe he should have been doing this, but, you know, and then it's certain things that too, I don't know about you, but me as a parent, I expect it because it's my personality and what I would do. So I have to remember the individualism of
each person.
Yes.
Because they got that other blood.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They got the other blood in them. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why you have to be careful.
And even if they don't, because I got some stuff that I'm just like this one-on-one. I almost slipped and bust my butt pushing out that trash today.
Listen, going back to what you were saying about, you know, having the kids, the amount of kids you can take care of, though, you know,
emotionally too, not even just financially,
because emotionally, physically,
it's a lot. I want you to finish, but I just want to say this: I be like in my own head too much. Can you imagine me with multiple kids?
No,
they would be neglected. I ain't got time. I'm stressed out too.
No. But a lot of times when the people who I talk to that have, especially single women or young ladies, sometimes that have multiple kids that don't have a husband, you know, when you start to have a conversation, the conversation is pretty much very similar to where they probably didn't have a strong family situation growing up, and they want someone to love. So they choose to, you know, do it. And no matter how hard it is, because I do salute the mothers out there that have more than 1, 2, 3 kids. But a lot of times it is the same story because why else would you do that and make it harder on yourself or your kids? Because that's a hard life for you and your children. That's a very hard life.
Yeah.
And
I don't think the brain, because I overanalyze everything, I don't think people really think about that, because I remember my sister was just like, I want 3 kids. And she got 3 kids.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if she ever really thought about like college and all of that. It was just like I was like, I want a baby. I got a baby, you know, and then it was just like, oh, by the time I'm good and in my 20s, oh, I'm okay.
I don't think I thought about it because I was married at the time. So you don't think that your life is going to be like this. But I do know that immediately when my first one was born, everything became about making sure he was taken care of. Everything became about him. And then my daughter came along. Everything was about the children, making sure. And then once they started school, that's when I started thinking, dang, eventually they're gonna have to go to college and this. So that's when I started speaking. Y'all gonna get scholarships. Y'all gonna. And I just was so focused. And people be saying, "You're a good mother. You're a good mother." I don't think a lot of parents who are not a good parent understand what it goes into being a good parent.
Listen, I feel like at this point, and I thought about this today because, and I've said this on the podcast plenty of times, how I struggle with being a good parent. And it's just like the stories we talked about, we can legit say, if you had your 3 babies at that house, you were not a good parent.
Yeah, she's terrible.
That was a legit example.
Yeah, she's terrible.
So my thing right now, what I'm telling myself is the one thing that I have never stopped giving was unconditional love.
Absolutely, because she don't love them.
No. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm always acting from a place where my intentions are pure because I'm acting from a place of love. Mm-hmm. Whether my son is receptive of, the discipline or whatever it is, I had to tell myself, like, you cannot beat yourself up because you made these decisions based on how you was raised. Now that you older, you know better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And now that I'm older, I want to be out here and act like I'm a teenager now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like by the time you wise enough to maybe possibly, quote unquote, get it right.
Yeah.
You probably ain't trying to raise no kids at that point.
No. And it's no rules to it.
It's not.
But when you see stuff like that, you be like,
that right there is just like, okay, yeah, you was bad.
You bad. You terrible.
Yeah.
And if y'all, her family, tell us you terrible.
Yes.
Because how? We would not. I don't know anybody personally that would be that terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like I know mothers who've been like, I'm a bad mother or this and that, and it'd be something that you just be like, girl, you're not.
Listen.
But I see that, I'm like, she's terrible.
I'll go out to eat and not bring my son something home from the restaurant and be like,
you feel bad.
I'm bad.
Yeah. And something like that. But he ain't gonna starve because if you want to order him something or you still gonna do it. He ain't missed the meal. And he's had a warm.
It's just like, come on.
And maybe these stories have been coming up to show
us examples, and especially me, because I know how hard I am.
You're very hard
on myself. Yeah. And I don't know why, but I get hyperfixated on it. And I think that makes it worse because our thoughts are powerful. Like how you speak life over it. I'm continuously speaking death over this situation because all I'm talking about is the negative. Yeah. So now I just be like, shift that thought.
Yeah, you got to be intentional about it.
Yes.
You got to be intentional. You got to be intentional. I'm intentional about trying not to be a helicopter mom as they become an adult because I've been involved in every single aspect of everything. And now trying to pull myself away from that because I don't want them to start to resent me because I'm trying to still be, telling them what to do. So that part has been difficult for me.
I was not a helicopter mom. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like I'm more involved, and I think that I'm resented because of that. Because now, how you trying to run a grown man life? That man grown.
Yeah.
Mind your business. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But because my parents were strict, and it was certain things that I couldn't do, But I don't know, it was just like I was functioning like a mini adult, so I didn't really need instructions. It was like, you can't hang out with your friends, you can't go here, you can't do this. But I knew to take care of what I needed to take care of. And I don't know where I got like financially savvy until I wasn't.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
But God, you done had a relationship with God a long time, and He will give us opportunity, and it's your free will on how you're gonna steward your finances, steward your health. He's literally letting us borrow everything that He give us.
Yeah. So I say that to say, like, I didn't have the helicopter parent with those types of things, but I didn't need it, because I was always that good people pleasing daughter, where my son might have needed a little bit more guidance. Whereas I'm just, again, literally thinking I have a mini me, where it's just like, you got a human.
Yeah.
It's a human. And it ain't even necessarily like the mother side, the father side, because they have external influences that play a role into it, the things that they involved in, you know, all of that.
Their own thoughts, their own ways of wanting to do things.
Yes.
And can you imagine with those 3 kids that was in that house for 5 years now, what their trauma is going to be and how they eventually will have children?
I can't even imagine like them becoming accustomed to being in this world that we live in.
They're never going, well, I'm not going to say never. Trusting someone and believing somebody love you. When your mother don't show you any type of love, when she throws some food on the porch every now and then, because I know she wasn't going in that house. Just throwing some. Imagine the type of, we done dealt with our childhood traumas and me wishing my parents had done some things a little differently, whatever. But imagine that. When I think of stuff like that, I'll be like, man, I can't complain too much, because them not even knowing some basic things, but just knowing that your mama who birthed you don't love you, because she's terrible. I'll have to keep saying that. She had a lace front wig on, like she out here living her life, and your kids is living in destruction. Like, I think that God be sending us messages for us to know, like, listen, you not terrible and you ain't failed. This person is failing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This person is failing. Like,
that is very valid.
Our children have their own minds and their own thoughts, and we want them to do things certain ways.
Because I feel like I have been beating myself up for years, and heavily within the last 12 months. Heavily, probably more than I ever have before. And I think so too, because as I grow spiritually, I do a lot of introspection. Probably too much. It becomes overthinking. Yeah. And I don't even know if overthinking is the right word, because I mean, it's overthinking, but then it gets to where I'm like, oh, this choice that I made, like I'm literally analyzing everything and going back to 1982.
I do that.
And it's just like, everything, you don't need to do that. Like, and I mean it from like, okay, the example is when we had Bertine. So now I'm deep diving, going in on the stuff that we talked about with her, and especially after the episode that y'all missed, y'all really needed the behind the scenes,
baby. Yeah.
And then with the couple, I read her book. Y'all get her book. So then I'm, thinking about that, and I'm going back down rabbit holes with that. And with this episode, now to be like, girl, you're not about to go home and go down the parenting rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I do it way too much, where it's just like, accept your choices. This is what I want to say, and it just hit me right now. Thank you, Spirit. I live in the past.
Okay.
I live in the past. I'm never in the present. My life is spent in the past and the future.
You don't never live in the present.
I never realized that until right now.
When I do introspection, my introspection is more of it be clarity for me on how I got to where I am now in the present. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I don't.
Your healing is a positive healing.
Yes.
My healing is to beat myself up because why did you do that? Because I'm thinking everything is a reward.
Yeah.
And I think every choice I'm going to be punished if I don't make the right choice, when it's just like, trust God, live in the present, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. When I think of my past and choices and decisions that I made, or things I've done, or things I've said, I first repent. And then it's like, now I understand why I am where I am right now. Mm-hmm. But now I understand how to make, when that choice come up again, how to do differently in life, or, on my job. Because, I even question, I told you about earlier, like how I'm adamant about not being a people pleaser, but I'm adamant about setting boundaries and not letting people run over me no more.
Yes.
So when I think about conversations I had before in the past with friends or whoever, that I was like, dang, they really was running over me. And I was just kind of laughing it off. And now when a situation happened, it ding in my mind. Like, I remember when I was friends with so-and-so or this or that, and that it was a very similar situation, and I laughed it off, even though on the inside I felt pain.
Yes.
Yes. So now my introspection brings me to healing, where yours, you have to learn to let it bring you to healing and not
pain. You know what the sad part about mine? It heals other people, but it brings me pain.
Yeah.
If I'm bringing the pain on my own, but then I'm using my stories or whatever else, and I'm healing other people, when I need to really view it as not beating myself up, living in the past, just being present and looking at it like you healed through that. God is still with me, showing me every day, little small things. I'll be praying like, come through with the big guns. But he'll be like, oh, I'm going to just sprinkle in a little emoji.
And that's exactly how I feel. I'll be like, God, I'll be ready for the big thing. Like and then I'll hear a message and they'll be like, oh, that's why he ain't. He like, no, you ain't ready.
You ain't ready. You ain't ready.
Let me just give you just enough.
Yes.
Here, and you're gonna be good. Which is why when you in the negative, or when I'm in the negative or whatever, it'd be like, we still ain't hungry.
Yeah. When I tell you, and I just think like back in the day, I probably would have been stressed out. But I was just like, Keisha says he gives me my daily bread.
Every day. He give me my daily bread. And this morning I woke up and I wake up, sometimes I just be in the silence like, you know what? I know he gonna give me everything I need. I'm not even gonna start to think about what I need. I'm just going to believe that, and he know that I believe that he's going to give me what I need. So, girl, I'm like, my introspection be very, very, and I introspect a lot too. I just don't let it take me down a negative rabbit hole, of you could be a woe is me. Oh, man, I wasted so much time.
That is me. Like, I wasted 48 years. Like, girl, you only been grown for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm like, shoot, I feel like
because when I really think about it, like, I talk about being an adult, but this version of me that's so much better, she only been like this for 5 years.
And mine has only been like this, 2? So I feel like I literally be thinking, I've only really known God for 2 years, Lord. I know that I was around you, but I didn't know you. So now that I know you, it's like, oh, okay. It's that introspection. I don't let it take me down no rabbit hole. And even when we was reading Nikki's book, Nikki was our last guest, Denise. If you all didn't watch that episode, it was really, really good. But when you read her book, and a lot of people, everybody you meet and come in contact with got a story.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has got a story. We all got a book in us.
Everybody has a story. When I read it, I was like, I started feeling heavy, like, man, I know her. I know she went through all of this. I know you, and I don't know everything you've been through, but I know you've been through stuff, and I've been through stuff, and it's like, you know what? I ain't going through it now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going through it now. I feel great, and even if I don't feel great, I'm going to be okay.
Okay.
I'm going to be okay. So I'm like, there has never been a day that he ain't gave me what I need. Never. Whether it was how I feel on the inside about myself or anything else, whether it was spiritually, physically, even when I've gotten sick. I was in the hospital, what was it, a month or two ago? I was laying in that hospital like, okay, I know you ain't about to take me out of here. Like, I got stuff to do. Like, come on. Look, this is not about to be it for me.
That is so funny.
Yeah, but girl, listen. Everybody got a story. We good mothers.
Yes, we are.
Not just good mothers, good people, good humans.
Good humans. Yes, yes.
And everybody may not feel like that way. And I was thinking about this too. I was like, people who knew me or feel like they know me before 2023, you don't know me.
Listen, if y'all knew me yesterday,
you don't know me.
You don't know me today.
Yes, I'm like, you don't know me. Like somebody may be like, oh, I know her. She did. You don't know me. Sorry, you don't know me. And people would say that, but I literally know, like, man, if you knew me now and knew me, let's say 2020, no, let's go back further. 18, 19, 16, 15, you don't know me.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You don't know me. So I'm like, yeah, he give us our daily bread, whatever that is. Whatever you need. He give us our daily bread. So I'm praying for them families. That the mother that kids was passed in the car, the family of those kids that was left in that house. Shoot, even the people that my family out of town was texting, checking on us because of how Southwest flooded.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "Are y'all okay?" I'm like, that ain't even nowhere near me. I was like, but no, we okay. I said, but just pray for them families. I was like, because shoot, it could be me tomorrow.
It could be. Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. So, I'm just grateful. Yeah, girl, he give us our daily bread.
Yeah, I am very grateful in the midst of everything. It'd be like little things too that I just be like, oh, okay. When I went outside yesterday, girl, a bird flew right in front of me just like this. And I was just like, oh, okay, everything gonna be fine. So it'd be like little, it take, I don't want to say little stupid things, but it'd be like little things like that where I'd be like, okay, so let me say something. I got a gift when I came here. I'm gonna show yours. So even this, when I got this little card, I was just like, oh, okay, so I ain't got nothing to worry about this. So it'd be like my little sign. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because she did not know.
No, she didn't.
She did not know that it had my code word on it. So just having that was just like, oh, okay.
It's like a confirmation of
like, just relax. Like, quit letting everything get you so worked up. Come out of the past that's negative. That's really too, and we coming on a close, why I have really been intentional about writing those prayers every day. They not for everybody else that's reading it.
I know.
Them prayers be for me. And I'd be like, if one other person read it, then God is two of us.
But you know what you're doing? I told you this before. That's discipling. Like, you put the word out there, whether it's a prayer or whatever, you're doing what, because everybody who come across it probably like, they can scroll. But
and I think about it too, like how you said, like, because someone recently had followed me on Instagram, and I was just like, dang, you probably gonna be like, I'm gonna have to unfollow her because you don't, what I'm saying? Like, you don't know me no more.
Yeah. They probably gonna be like, wait a minute, like, what's she doing? What is this?
Who is talking about? I know this girl her whole life. I'm confused. Now she the church girl? Because that's how, you know what I'm saying? That's how it would be perceived.
Yeah.
When it's not even like that.
Yeah. It's just,
I'm just like trying to be here for the Lord so I can get my life on track. Yeah. I am I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to be in the present and I want it to be good. I don't want to be living so much where I'm focusing on my mistakes of yesterday and I'm thinking that my tomorrow isn't promised.
Yeah, yeah. I get it.
That's all I got. What you got else?
That's it, girl. I've enjoyed our talk. Let's continue to be intentional about, everything.
Yes, our free will, our choices that we make, because there's consequences for every choice. And we really need to be praying for one another and these families out here because we all going through it.
And everybody going through it.
I told Jordan, I said, it's my first time on earth. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. It's my first time.
He probably looked at you like, what?
I literally was like, I'm just a girl. It's my first time on earth.
Hey.
What he said was, you watch too much TikTok. That's what he said.
That is funny. Hey, we all trying to get it right out here. We all trying to get it right. I'm going to pray. I'm going to continue to write down the names that come to me. These families, I don't know their names, but I just be writing the family that was in the van, the family that was in the house.
I don't mean to laugh. Jesus. I don't want to go to hell for laughing, but that was funny. But that's real. Like sometimes you ain't got to know the name. I seen somebody with on the street, like that person in that white car that was on the side of the road.
Yes, I'll be like, that'd be my description. Pray for that family that was in, just, whatever, because it's hard out here.
It is.
It's hard. And some of y'all feel like y'all don't have any options. You do. You do. First you pray and talk to them, and then you start getting busy figuring it out.
I think you gotta have that. You gotta have that little mustard seed, though, and it gotta be some action to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know if people realize this, but sometimes the action is just in your thoughts. Because it starts there first.
It does. It does. Listen, we want y'all to like, subscribe, share with a friend. Send us an email. Tell us what you think in the comments. What you are. If you're a parent, if you struggle with some stuff or if you got some encouragement, put it in the comments. Let us know. And, I enjoyed it. And I'm just praying for these families out here, and we all going to be all right. All right? We see y'all next week.
Your hair just growing, girl?
Is it?